So what do you do when you have identified a child in a family that is struggling with mental health issues? How do you help with the resources that you have available? For that matter, what do you do if you find out your own child's best friend is in the psych unit, or a coworker is struggling with severe anxiety, or a friend is having suicidal thoughts? Well, on a community level, hopefully you're already having regular meetings about mental health. You're having conferences and parent education events on the topic. You're talking to kids about mental health frequently and often, and you're teaching them coping and regulation skills. And you have a ready list of resources and support groups for parents. On a personal level, we need to remember that it's not our job to fix it, any more than we would try to fix a heart attack. Our job is to be open, provide connection, and hope. The first and probably the most important thing that you can do for any family in this situation is listen. Just listen. Honestly, a parent who is going through this experience is probably scared, they're exhausted, they have no idea how to find their child help, or their lives have become consumed by the help that they have found, and that help isn't helping. They're questioning their parenting skills. They desperately need someone to tell them that they're a good mom or dad, and they just need someone to hear them. Of course, if you mention self-care, I have to warn you, they might punch you. But practice your bob and weave, because it's worth it. They don't know how important it is. They're not taking care of themselves. And honestly, listening cannot be underestimated in its power and value. One of the most important things for me was just knowing that I could talk openly about what we were going through without judgment or fear. That I could talk about it to people at work, people at church, to other moms. I was really struggling to parent a mentally ill teenager and little kids at the same time. And sometimes I just couldn't participate in normal mom conversation. I would walk down every afternoon to the elementary school to pick up the little ones, and they'd want to stay and play on the playground, so I would stand around with the other moms, and they'd be talking about fractions and potty training. And I'd really want to talk about fractions and potty training, but I couldn't, because I was up in my head worrying about, what do I do with that giant stash of pills I just found in Kim's nightstand? I mean, I knew that the stash of pills meant two things. It meant she was preparing for another overdose attempt, and it meant she was off her medication. So do I tell her I found the pills, or just take the pills and don't tell her I found the pills? Do I take the pills and put them all back in the little pill bottles because they're expensive and you don't want to be wasteful? I couldn't flush the pills because I'm from Oregon and that's bad for the environment. I couldn't talk about fractions or the science fair. But it was okay, because there were a few moms on that playground at that time who knew just enough about what we were going through that if I couldn't talk, it was okay. They were there with hugs and with tears. And if I could talk, they listened. And sometimes when I did talk, I overshared, and I'm sure they had no idea what to do with that. But it was okay because they were there for me. It was enough. In fact, it was everything. Remember awkward silence? How cool would it be if instead our friends and family members, when they told us about struggles with mental health issues, were met with immediate comfort and love? Presence, not fixing. Or if they were met with offers of things our communities already do well, things like meals or visits, coffee dates, or connections with families who've been down that road before. I've learned by walking through my family's journey and by working with families in Shattering Stigma conferences that when we talk openly about mental health, people experience tremendous gratitude that we're even talking about it. They also learn more about different disorders. They learn more about the experiences of family members and their struggles, and they gain confidence in talking about hard issues like suicide. That's tangible hope for families with mental illness struggles.